garden BioBlitz spiders. BioBlitz garth brevedcop. My name is Richard Gallen from Covnod, and I'm going to give you a few pointers on how to record a few common garden spiders during today's BioBlitz. Let's start with a nice easy one. This is Pholcus phalangioides. This is the daddy long-legged spider that you'll find indoors. It will be in the top of a ceiling area, corner of a ceiling, very gangly legs, long, thin, cylindrical abdomen. Quite big, maybe 8 centimeters leg span. If you see one of these, that long, thin abdomen, you can certainly record it as Pholcus phalangioides. You'll only really find it indoors or maybe in sheltered places like a coal bunker or a cellar hatch. This is what it looks like, very long legs, small carapace, long thin abdomen. Usually you see them hanging upside down and they'll gyrate rapidly like this in their web when you disturb them. Quite under-recorded in Wales, so there's quite a few gaps there to fill. So see if you can fill some of those gaps. Next really common spiders are these laceweb spiders, lace weaver spiders. They make this very thin, bluish, doily silk. You find these on things like larch lap fences, gaps in walls, that sort of thing. They respond quite well to a toothbrush, so if you've got a sonic electric toothbrush, set that going, touch the web, and out they'll come. Now, the common one that you find around houses is Amauroblus similis, but this is visually very similar to Amauroblus fenestralis, so to be 100% certain, you need to check them microscopically with a hand lens. There are resources online which you can look for to find out how to do that. However, generally, similis is the one that you'll find around houses, and fenestralis is the one that you'll find in more natural settings like woodlands. But that's only a rule of thumb. Once again, very under-recorded in Wales, so now's your chance to record it. It has a bigger sibling species, or cousin, I suppose. Amauroblus ferox. This is unmistakable. There's nothing else that looks like it in Britain. Big black spider, velvety look to its legs. And it has this sort of skull and crossbones pattern on the abdomen. You tend to find these in more shaded wall habitats. Still got that bluish doily web, easily to lure out with a toothbrush or even a tuning fork if you've got one. Another one under-recorded. You can sometimes find these by lifting drain covers. They'll have a web there, or if you've got a damp cellar, there'll sometimes be a corner of the floor there. Good place to look here, under plant pots. So if you've got any plant pots out on your patio, look underneath them and see what you can find. If you're lucky, you might come across one of these, the woodlouse spider. This is Dysdera crocata. Now, we do have a species that looks similar. What you're looking for with your hand lens is whether it's got two little black spines there on the rear femur, on the back leg. That will generally tell you it's crocata. It's not foolproof, although the books do point to that being a useful distinction. There is another species that lives out in the sort of natural grasslands, Dysdera erythrina, which generally doesn't have spines in that position, but it's not a foolproof separation by any means. But by and large, if it's around your house, under plant pots, it's almost certainly Dysdera crocata. They sometimes call it the baked bean spider. Obvious reasons. The abdomen looks a bit like a baked bean. It's quite reddish, I suppose that's the tomato sauce. Once again, very under-recorded in Wales. You're probably not going to find this inland or high up in Wales. So if you're up in Snowdonia or Elan Valley, very unlikely you're going to find this. But if you're around the coast, turning rocks, anywhere where there's wood lice, you'll find this spider. Similar spider to that one, Harpactea hombergi. A bit smaller, tends to like living in very dry, sort of leaf-littery environment. So if you've got some, I don't know, pine litter in your garden, sieve that through a sieve, garden sieve, onto a tray, and this chap will drop out onto the tray. Less than a centimetre, long, thin abdomen, very mobile, very quick, easy to record. Nothing else looks like that. And there's its national distribution. Large areas under-recorded. Really nice, easy one. Particularly if you go out at night with a torch, have a look for these tube webs in gaps in the wall. They'll have these radial silk trip lines coming out of the hole. These are made by tube web spiders, Segestria. Now, we've got 3 species in Wales. The common one is Segestria senoculata, which we have here. They have a black marking on the top of the abdomen, a sort of zigzaggy type marking. Very common around houses. If you're in South Wales, do look out for Segestria florentina, which is considerably larger and has bright green metallic chelicerae, and it's generally an all black spider. You're unlikely to find the other rare species in Wales in a garden setting, so I won't mention that. But Segestria senoculata probably occurs in every garden, on house walls, that sort of thing. Even under old tree bark as well, dead tree bark. Big house spiders, we're all familiar with these in Wales. They're the things that fall into your bath in September time. They're the males wandering around looking for females. Well, not quite as easy to identify as you think. Eratigena is the genus, but there are 2 species. What you're looking for is no annulations on the legs, these uniformly coloured legs, and quite a big thing, maybe 5-6 centimetre leg span easily. We've got 2 species, so we've got saeva and dwellica. Saeva is generally the one that you find in the west of Britain. Dwellica is the eastern, but there is some overlap in the 2 hybridise. So if you've seen them and you haven't examined them microscopically, just put them down as Eratigena at the genus level. It's good enough. Don't try and guess based on the distribution, because there are little pockets of dwellica in the west from introductions. Very common spiders are these widow spiders that we get, false widow spiders. There's 2 species you're likely to find around your house. We've got the larger one is Steatoda nobilis. Generally, it has this white sort of pattern on its abdomen, very distinctive cream marking around the flanks of the abdomen and the top of the abdomen. The smaller species is Steatoda grossa. Now, this tends to have these white triangular markings along the midline of the abdomen, quite different from Steatoda nobilis. However, you do get all black versions of these which show no abdominal pattern. So just be wary about identifying them. Generally, if it's a larger species, it will be nobilis. They tend to live on the outside of your house and also on trees in your garden. Grossa, on the other hand, generally, particularly in North Wales, you won't find it outside. It only lives in sheds and sheltered places. Perhaps in South Wales, you may get them outdoors, but take a photo, consult us during the expert session today, and hopefully we'll be able to put a name to your specimen. So look out for them. A lot easier to see at night. They come out onto their sheet web and walk underneath, like so. And there's the respective distributions. Very under-recorded. I'm sure there are a lot more records to be made out there. And there's one of the highlighted with a plant mister to show you that trampoline structure. When the spider walks at night, the spider will be sat underneath the web, very visible. Little wolf spiders are very common in the garden. So if you see any of these, they don't make a web to sit on and catch prey. They sit on vegetation, running about. I'm sure you're familiar with them. And they tend to carry the egg. Well, they all carry an egg sac on their abdomen like this, the females. So watch out for them. The common one you get in gardens is usually Pardosa, Amauroblus. Although there are lots of other species, so not easy to record to a species level, but certainly to a genus level, quite easy. If you've got a magnifying glass, a spy pot, where you can retain the spider in a tube and look at it, you might have a chance of identifying its species using some guidance through books or internet resources. Really common spider around window frames and even behind car wing mirrors is Zygiella x-notata. You're probably not going to find many adults at this time of year. You may see the egg sacs that have overwintered, and maybe some of the spiderlings that have come out of these egg sacs. You see this egg sac has hatched recently. They tend to be more adults towards the end of the season, sort of September time, July, but you may have a late overwintering specimen. So one to look out for. They make an orb web with a missing sector in, so look out for them. Easy one to record if you've got adults there. Okay, that's giving you a quick overview of a few very common spiders you'll find in your garden. So do photograph any spiders. We can try and identify them for you online to add to the database. Okay, good luck.